thought you loved me," she said, her voice trembling, her wide ocean blue eyes searching his face, desperate for the truth she didn't want to say. But he didn't respond, his face unreadable. Once upon a time, deep in the waters of the Atlantic Ocean, there lived a young mermaid named Olamma. Olamma was the youngest daughter of the mighty sea king Obase, ruler of all the ocean creatures. She was the princess of the sea, with two older sisters who were wise and cautious. Unlike her, Olamma was curious and brave, always peeking at the surface, watching the humans above. Her father, however, had forbidden her from going to the surface.
"Humans took your mother from us,"
he had warned her several times, his voice thick with sorrow and anger.
"They are dangerous, and they only see us as something to exploit. Promise me, Olamma, do not trust them."
Olamma nodded every time, but her heart was filled with curiosity. The story she had heard from her sisters about humans had captured her imagination, and no amount of warning could fully quench her curiosity. She would float just below the water, watching the world above. She wanted to know what it was like to be on two legs, to walk on land, and to see the sun set behind the hills. One stormy evening, Olamma was near the surface when she spotted something unusual. A wooden boat, caught in the wild waves, being tossed around like a leaf in the wind. Just as she moved closer, she saw a young man struggling to stay afloat as his boat capsized. He was sinking fast, his arms waving as he grasped for air. Without thinking, Olamma swam up and wrapped her hands around him, pulling him towards the surface. She held him close, her heart racing as she looked into his eyes filled with relief and awe as he looked back at her. Olamma felt something she had never felt before, a strange warmth in her chest, a connection. She had saved a life, a human life. After she helped him to the shore, she stayed just below the waves, watching him as he laid on the sand, coughing and catching his breath. He looked around, searching for her, but she kept herself hidden, knowing that she shouldn't have saved him in the first place. But she couldn't help herself. She kept returning to the shore day after day, waiting to catch a glimpse of him again. Days passed, and Tunde continued to look for her by the shore, hoping to see her again. Olamma, drawn to him, couldn't resist coming closer. She would sing soft melodies from the water, and Tunde was enchanted. Eventually, Olamma began to talk to him, sharing stories of her life under the sea, her love for the ocean, and her curiosity about the human world. Over the next few weeks, Olamma returned to the shore, meeting Tunde when he was alone by the beach. He told her stories of his palace, of the beautiful gardens and treasures he would one day share with her. He was different from the humans her father had warned her about, kind, charming, and understanding of her world. Despite her father's warnings, Olamma felt safe with Tunde. He was the first human she had ever spoken to, and he seemed so gentle, so genuine. Little by little, she began to trust him, to believe that maybe her father had been wrong. One evening, as they sat by the shore, Tunde told Olamma that he loved her. Her heart leaped with joy. She had never heard those words before, and she wanted so badly to believe them.
"We could be together,"
he said, his voice sweet and soft.
"You could become human and we will live together in my palace. Just imagine it, Olamma. We will be happy forever."
Olamma's heart ached at the thought. She wanted so badly to be with Tunde, but her father's warning echoed in her mind. Humans had taken her mother. They had brought pain and suffering to her family. Still, the way Tunde looked at her, the way he spoke to her, she was beginning to believe that perhaps he was different. But her father was no fool. He had sensed her absence, and one day he confronted her.
"Olamma, I warned you to stay away from the surface. Humans are dangerous. They only bring harm. Why do you disobey me?"
Olamma looked down, unable to meet his eyes.
"But father, he's different. He says he's a prince, that he loves me. He wants me to be with him."
King Obasi's face grew dark.
"Humans lie, Olamma. They hide behind pretty words and empty promises. You are my daughter, and I will not lose you like I lost your mother."
Olamma's heart was torn. She didn't want to disobey her father, but she couldn't abandon Tunde. She was certain he was different. One night, Tunde invited her to a quiet spot by the shore.
"Olamma,"
he said,
"I need you to trust me. If you love me, prove it. Come with me now. We can leave this place together.
Olamma hesitated, but her love for him outweighed her doubt. She closed her eyes, whispering a spell to transform her tails into legs. It was painful, but she endured it, knowing that soon she would be with Tunde forever. As she moved closer, Tunde began the ritual, speaking words she didn't understand, holding items she had never seen before. A strange dark energy surrounded him, swirling around her as she watched in confusion.
Tunde,
She whispered, her voice creeping into her heart.
what are you doing?
But he didn't respond. His eyes fixed on her, his face twisted in determination. Olamma felt her strength fading, her voice growing weaker. She remembered her father's words, his warning. Her heart shattered as she realized the truth. Tunde wasn't a prince. He wasn't even close to royalty. He was poor and desperate. He lived in a small village, struggling to make ends meet. He had heard tales of mermaids, creatures of the sea with magical powers, and he believed that if he could find one, he could use her to perform a ritual to bring him wealth. He had even planned the boat accident to lure a mermaid, hoping she would come to his rescue. Tunde had never loved her. He had only wanted to use her, to sacrifice her for his own gain. With her last bit of strength, Olamma called out to her father.
Father, please help me.
In the depths of the ocean, King Obasi heard her cry, waves crashing as her father appeared, his anger like a storm. He reached out, pulling Olamma back into the water, breaking the ritual's hold on her. As Tunde watched in horror, the dark energy he had summoned turned on him. He was consumed by his own greed, his life energy draining until he was nothing but a shadow, lost to the waves. Olamma returned to the ocean, her heart broken, her trust shattered. She had loved Tunde, giving him her heart, and he had betrayed her. She returned to her father, falling at his feet, tears streaming her face.
I'm sorry,
She said, her voice choked with sorrow.
you were right. I should have listened.
Her father wrapped his arms around her, holding her close.
You are safe now, my child. Remember, the ocean is your home. This is where you belong.
Olamma nodded, her heart heavy with regret. She promised never to return to the surface, to stay within the safety of the ocean, and never to trust a human again. Like my story, follow for more. Thank you for watching.